innovation, obviously, creative, relevant, focused. We also have, so there was no perfect, this might be a secret for some of you, there was no perfect content management system available to do what we wanted to do. And so maybe some of you are finding that out right now that, well, there's this package, and then there's this package, and then I can do this package, and then there's this package, and I can outsource it, or I can do it in-house. And so if you really want to grab control of your of your web destiny, I think ultimately you have to build custom tools in order so that your website, your user experience matches the kind of experience that you think that your users are asking for. And then this is Chasm. This is one of our primary technologies. So in a little bit here, I'm going to talk about how to get more organic traffic, how to attract more free organic traffic. And so if you're a user-generated content play, or you're attracting content that's being submitted to you, one of the primary things you have to do is make sure that a large percentage of that content is unique. And so we developed some technologies that detect duplicate content, and that was in the early days. Detecting duplicate content was important. Now detecting derivative content is really important, meaning that the content can't be duplicate of itself, or an author might rewrite pieces of their article, or they might use different words to say the same thing. We try to detect that so that the user experience is unique. And also analytics, Google Analytics, as well as our own analytics and testing. And one of the great things about having millions of page views is that you can do tests, and you can run tests in real time, and you can determine, if we do this one thing, it'll make this 0.1% difference. And so like we do at any given point, we're trying to run a couple hundred tests concurrently. And so I encourage you, if you're not doing that already, to do at least, you don't have to do multivariate, really deep, complex tests. All you've got to do is very simple A/B split tests. Now, how many people do that here? How many do split tests where you test color, you test position, you test? Did anyone do that? Split tests. One split test this year is going to make us $500,000 more US dollars. Okay, the results, and they improve the user experience. So whenever we find a result that improves the user experience and makes us more money, we think, wow, why did we leave that money on the table? So anyway, now that's enough about me. Now it's about you. How are you going to attract more traffic? And so I don't know why people don't do this, but in order to drive more traffic, you have to have more content. As Nelly just spoke a little bit ago about how having more content, more pages, attracts more content. So if you have 10,000 pages of content versus 100,000 versus 1 million versus 10 million, which one's going to attract more traffic? Okay, so you have to have more, you got to drive page count. Expanding your index. Imagine if Google only had 1 billion pages in their index. How valuable would they be? Not as valuable as they are today with, I don't know how many billions. It's extensive, right? So you must expand your index and your inventory size. Now this might be a little geeky. On the leverage your data silo. Your data silo is your database. So at a certain point, as you're growing your site, you have all this data. And eventually, you begin to realize, wow, if we do some correlations, if you eventually have all this data and all this content, you've got to find a way to take that data and make it more valuable for your users. And that in the process of making your data more valuable to your users, actually creates more value and, of course, more page views. Your content mix must include a large percentage of unique content. I can't overstate that. So when I was saying before, you should have 1 million pages of content. If you have 1 million pages of unique content, that's way more valuable than 1 million pages that you can generate tonight on some database routine, right? So a large percentage of your inventory must be unique content, not found elsewhere. And the content should also be exclusive to the author. So like sometimes people write what's called non-exclusive rights content. That's content that can be purchased and then you put your name on it. That's not the type of content that attracts traffic. You must also guard against derivative content from UGC, meaning people will submit content that's duplicative or derivative based on they plagiarize, or they may submit content that they already submitted, or they may submit parts of content they submitted and they rewrote it. And so it's important to not accept derivative content. Should XML and RSS everything? Never publish a full feed. There's two types of feeds in XML, right? There's a partial feed and a full feed. A full feed, I don't believe, has any real use today, and so we use XML or RSS feeds to drive traffic back to our site and attract traffic. With XML feeds, you're essentially creating a mini API. You're essentially giving your users a chance to use that data any way they see fit, and as a partial feed, that tracks traffic back to your website. And then, of course, use pay-per-click to drive membership and or sales. I'm not into the arbitrage. I don't do pay-per-click to get traffic and then spin that traffic off in AdSense. We use pay-per-click for attracting membership and driving sales. Now, to get more organic traffic, here's one question I want you to ask yourself. How can you make the search engines, all of them, look good for having referred traffic to your site? It's a different perspective than most people have. Because your job is to make them look good. The better you make search engines look when they deliver a visitor to your site, and that because they're tracking statistics. The search engines know whether or not they delivered value to you, or whether or not you delivered value to their user, because Google, for example, wants to deliver great value to their users, right? And you want Google to refer more traffic to you, as well as Yahoo and Microsoft and everybody else. So think about ways that you can make sure that you're delivering a positive user experience to the users of the search engines. How do you do that? Landing page quality scoring. Landing page quality scoring is something that's part of the AdWords world, and it should be part of your world even if you're not into AdWords. So this is determining what creates a great landing page for a user, a visitor. Put yourself in the search engine's shoes. They just want to deliver positive user experience. They want a fast user experience. I don't know if Google is doing this, but I assume that if they have two choices to deliver a user to almost identical unique content, the one that's serving up higher uptime and faster is probably going to be a better site if the content's all the same. Also, help the search engines to index only high-value pages. This is important. So like if you have content, for example, let's just say you have a page where there's no comments on the page yet. Okay, it's a comment page where you're trying to accept comments. You want to help the search engines not index pages that have no unique content on them. Okay, it's a real important concept. So pages that have unique content, you want to help the search engines find that content, and then pages that don't have unique content, you want to help the search engines exclude that content, because it hurts you to have Google or Yahoo or Microsoft, whoever, or Baidu, you can see that one here. It's a penalty, if you will, to have them index content that provides no value to their users. I don't know that for sure, but I'm just guessing. You also want to leverage the tools the search engines provide, especially the Webmaster toolset that Google provides and others provide Webmaster tools. Log into that. They're telling you more and more what to do and how to improve your results. You also want to track data via email summary reports. This is something that we do that's kind of unique. Every day I get an email that tells me who my top referrers of traffic were yesterday, how many bot visits did they make to our site, how many hundreds of thousands or millions of bot visits, and I track our own stats to compare. So we want to know our traffic sources on a daily basis, so we can detect patterns. Like, do we change something that shouldn't happen? Now, we also use email. You should be using permission-based email to attract traffic. This is, they say email is dead. I keep hearing email is dead, email is dead, email is dead, and email is not dead. It's far from it. One of the biggest mistakes in using email is not integrating it into your CMS, into your content management system. So somehow you've got to find a way to integrate email so that it can be part of your entire web user experience, automated as well as manual.